So Stan is the founder of Hup, a company that makes AI cameras that watch you in your home and tell you how to live your life. In the past week, his company has gotten 25 million views and sold 500 of these cameras. And he's on his way to hitting his goal of 50,000 units in 2026. But his journey didn't start last week. This is how he went from 0 to 1.
Early on in high school, I went to a school that had us get early MacBooks. I used to write fake viruses that would cover your screen and exclamation points, and I think it was actually like a bash script too that we used to send on AIM. That kind of dates me, but it would shut your computer down when you opened it. I learned that on just early YouTube. And then my first application was an early Reddit called thethoughtcrate.com. I launched that on our school announcements. We had some interesting things happen with that, like people coming out as gay, literally, because they could post as like a pseudonym and they didn't have to have a username, and that was awesome. The original idea for Hup was for people who have ADHD like me and don't keep their place clean. So the weekend project was me just saying, I think it would be cool if I had a camera in my place that shamed me into cleaning when it gets dirty, because typically my routine before that was just let it go until I am overwhelmed, and then I do like one big cleaning session. So the original idea was really just for me, and it was just to see if I could take a camera, kind of my first IoT project, and have AI tell me that I'm living in a pigsty. I posted on Reddit as a builder saying, hey, I built this thing over the weekend that I think would be helpful. And I didn't post in the typical channels you would immediately go for, which is like startup and these kinds of things. I posted in r/ADHD. And those people don't see stuff like this. So I think that's why it was successful. For themselves, they could see it being beneficial in the same way it was early for me. This is a Hup. This is our camera specifically for our platform. From a technical perspective, you might ask, why did you build a camera or choose to ship a camera? We were able to move faster that way. Rather than having to reach out and try to get closed APIs from Ring or Blink, it was just simply much faster for us to build and have access to our own input stream that we can send to our platform. So this camera captures whatever you point it at and sends it through our AI pipeline for analysis, and then ultimately renders content back to you in the app. But the first version was essentially a case that I found on printables.com, and then a cheap ESP board, ESP32 board that I found online. Our supply chain at that time was literally Amazon Prime. So the first orders that went out to the first 30 customers were Amazon Primed, pieced together Hup cams. Probably only 10 or 15 of them actually plugged them in and tried them. Those early customers gave us really great feedback. We have a channel in our Discord where people can post their before and after results. If you can imagine an episode of The Hoarders, a little bit like that, and then you put a Hup up and it starts calling out that, you know, these individual little items. Grab the blue dish and put the blue dish away. That's how granular it was at the beginning with tasks and to-do lists. Early investors, I got a couple early calls that weren't very successful because we kind of had pigeonholed ourselves because of the success on r/ADHD. So a lot of the early people we talked to were like, oh, this doesn't seem like it's gonna be a big enough business if it's just for neurodivergent people. How do we communicate this in a way that we know it's gonna be broadly adopted? Led us to getting an intro to Founders Inc., and that's kind of where we landed there. We raised a very humble amount of money at the beginning, and we started immediately deploying that mostly to paid ads. Basically, all of our sales after that initial Reddit post were from paid acquisition. If you've ever run paid ads before, they're very hard. It's hard to even get sales sometimes, especially if you're in a competitive market. For 4 to 6 months, we spent a lot of time experimenting with different creatives, ad sets, experimentation with paid, and trying to really get that unlocked. Meta ads truly is a full-time job, so make sure you hire someone to take care of that for you. We've had this thing on our back, which is organic distribution. That's the new meta. Any company who can achieve their own form of unique distribution is really sought after, and if you can't and you are only getting paid acquisition, it's not really that great of a sign. So I hired one of my best friends right away, and his main goal has been figure out how to get this thing to a massive market. Between paid and organic, we were taking 3 to 4 swings a day on either new paid ad material or TikToks that at that time weren't doing the greatest. The TikTok algorithm is interesting. You always get a shot, but that shot, it's a flash in the pan. You can see when a video is gonna fail, and most videos do. It's like a slot machine. Those first 100 views are it saying, okay, we're rolling these wheels and we're deciding if you're gonna hit 3 sevens or you're just gonna be negative. And we took a lot of swings that struck out, and a lot of that came from just posting, I'd say, very dry content that was just like, this is Hup, this is what it's gonna do for you, it's gonna create tasks and alerts. And from a nerdy tech perspective, I think that's really cool. But the market, they want to be entertained. You have to be attempting and doing experiments on a daily basis, test features and messaging that you might not have implemented yet, but you'd like to see if the world is actually interested in. And he's been able to post whatever he wants. It was December 30th. We had a Slack meeting and we both agreed that, look, there's 2 days before the end of the year, and it's a binary situation. We either achieve this or we don't. We did a competition. I said, look, today on December 30th, we're gonna compete. I'm gonna post TikToks, you're gonna post TikToks. Whoever gets the most views wins, and here's the reward. So here's the video.
Hello?
Yo.
Hey! Turn off the space heater.
Bro, seriously?
Yes, you're wasting electricity.
You're a waste of electricity?
I didn't ask to be installed.
You don't really know what aspect is going to go viral, so you kind of have to explore everything is what we found. But it's really that trial and error that gets you to a good format.
The video that went viral was a feature that did not exist, so we had to build that pretty much immediately. 99.9% to parity of what Luke has demonstrated in his videos.
One cool thing is once you have a format that really hits, you get a lot of comments, and those comments are kind of a gold mine to revisit with videos addressing them. So
the big unlock as well is, I think there's 2 types of virality. There's like the flash in the pan, one video that you can't replicate. And then there's repeatable virality. Luke has now posted this same format with different narratives 6 to 10 times, and every video has performed, I would say, top 1%. To be able to produce content that informed not only the direction we should take, but also answered that question mark that investors or customers have. That was a huge boost for the team and morale that, like, wow, okay, yes, like it is a high converting product. We just need the eyeballs. We never did pre-orders. The early version of Hup was a scary looking device, very homemade looking, and we still chose to put them in packages and ship them to people's doorsteps, and we have not stopped shipping since then. So there's been no cushioning we've tried to give ourselves in like, oh, we need to wait until it looks shiny. We've pushed over-air updates to people's devices. We've updated the app 1,000,000 times. Tons of little logistical lessons that you learn from shipping so early. Had we not done this, I would be worried for myself heading into the goal of selling 10,000 of these without all the experience I've gained from having to order and create these supply chains and move from that Amazon Prime process that I had, and now we do have relationships with lens suppliers in China and the board manufacturer in China, and I think that gives us a big advantage going into when we do get the retail ready version. The goal is to build the Hup V1, which is going to be that shiny thing, to order 10,000 of those and sell out of them quickly. And I think the numbers we're seeing on TikTok, it's not insane to think that we're going to sell 50,000 or 100,000 of these devices in 2026.